Hello.
Hello, and welcome to a long-running series of podcasts called the
Burnt Ham Podcast.
On this episode, we shall be discussing a film we watched about 20 minutes ago. A film called Prey.
I'd literally already forgotten the name of the film.
Yeah, it's called Prey. Fuck knows. I don't know how to speak German or Dutch, whatever it is. But yeah, we watched this movie called... Yeah, let's get right into it. We watched this film called Prey, which is a Dutch film about a lion that gets set loose in Amsterdam and just goes a bit crazy.
Actually, it's never. Yeah, no one ever says where the lion comes from. Actually,
Yeah, this is actually they do. Someone says it's from South Africa, but anyway, let's start from the top.
I don't
Shall we?
remember that.
Let me turn to the page in which my notes have been written. So, we start off with the lion-ish murder of a family just on the outskirts of Amsterdam. And the dad comes down to investigate the strange noises he's been hearing. And his daughter's just...
His daughter's just been dropped off by some wacky boyfriend. He
guy with a knife.
Pulls a knife on his girlfriend because I can't even remember why now.
Well, he brings the knife out as to demonstrate what he'd do if her father challenged him.
Oh yeah, that was it. So clearly boyfriend material.
Yeah, so fit lad, as all the birds say.
Some may say a painting.
Painting in it. And and so yeah, they get off the motorbike. They go around the side of the house, and there's some very suggestive imagery of fellatio. And then the girlfriend gets pulled from the kneeling position.
and whilst the dad, we watch it from the angle of the dad, and the dad sees his daughter looking like she's sucking off this dude, because it's like the dude is obviously cut off by the corner of the building, and then his reaction is not to look away or anything. His reaction is just go, oh.
Yeah, that is an accurate representation of what he does. He literally goes, oh. Like it's like out of an anime, I'm not even joking.
And it was just hilarious.
Right, so you know the movie's off to a good start when this is the first scene. And who knows, I think the whole family gets killed by this massive
So then the daughter was not actually sucking off the dude. There was actually a lion attacking her. So then she gets pulled off, and I don't know, they all die and get torn
everyone
to shreds.
dies. And then after everyone's died, obviously there's an investigation. But before the zoologist, I guess, knows about the investigation, there's a scene that introduces our main character, the zoologist. I have no clue what her name is. Her name is never spoken in the movie. And essentially, she's trying to pull an iPhone out of an alligator. And I've got a quote here from the film when she's got her arm rummaging around in the stomach of this alligator that's been sedated. The quote reads as follows: "It's impossible to find anything, just like my purse." It's the weirdest, most awkward thing.
Yeah, you just get cut to performing. It's not really an operation.
No.
They're just kind of wearing aprons, and that's it. There's no sanitization or whatever. And then halfway through this is happening, some fucking random dude with a camera walks in on them, which we find out is her sort of boyfriend. But he just walks up on them does it count as an operation if they've just got their arm down an alligator's throat?
I mean, the alligator's sedated and has got his mouth clamped open, so it's weird already. And yeah, she's literally just fisting some alligator orally, and her boyfriend rocks up. I guess let's just call him her boyfriend. Dave or David rocks up and is like, "Oh, let's film this shit." And she says to him, "I told you not to meet me at work unannounced." And he's like, "Oh, what? Okay." And the script is awful, but you have to watch to understand. But anyway, after this happens, they are at a pub or a bar, I guess they'd call it, and they are discussing The Lion, and the weirdest chat scene, just conversation between the main woman, her boyfriend Dave, and the reporter that Dave works with. Dave's a cameraman. The reporter just rocks up, and every time they say a line of dialogue each, it just cuts to a different angle. So it's like one cut every second, I'd say they average. So it's really weird.
They'd like say a couple of words, and then it would cut, and then it'd be a different angle of a different person saying another few words.
And then it's like bam, 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 bam.
And it completely destroys the flow of the film.
Yeah, this movie has very awkward editing, and it's exemplified early on in the film. It's not like they were editing it and then they gave up halfway through. No, they just didn't care from the start. And then after that, the lion hunter that gets called in comes in to find the lion, right? So they shut off the big park in Amsterdam that the lion is supposedly roaming around in. And this is the most uninteresting scene just because it's the best put together one. It's a pretty standard movie scene, and I wouldn't be surprised to see it in something that's actually okay. But the finale of the scene is the cherry on the cake, honestly.
Yeah, so we get introduced to this wacky, like, hunter guy who we find out goes to, like, Zambia and shoots, like, lions and hippos and stuff. And he's just the most stereotypical white guy who's just dressed up in, like, some weird safari outfit.
Yeah, but we know he's real because he's got a certificate from, like, the African College of Hunting. I think that's what it says on it. And it's just this picture in a frame of him with a dead lion next to him and some signatures on it. And that means that he's qualified to hunt lions in Amsterdam, I suppose.
So he's the best chance that Amsterdam have at fighting this lion that's killing multiple people at the moment.
Yeah, the lion has committed murder. I don't think you can account a lion for murder, but, you know, it's been going around killing people. And he's got, I guess, his son. It's never explicitly explained in the movie, but his son, who acts like a 15-year-old, but looks like a late 20s, early 30-year-old. It's like
has the voice lines of a 12-year-old.
Yeah, he's literally like, "Oh, Dad, can I please come hunt this lion with him? I swear I'll shoot him square in the eyes." It's like this constant splurge and stream of dialogue, and he's not having any of it. He's like, "No, don't come hunt a lion with me. You're staying at home. You're not qualified for this because you don't have a certificate that says African College of Hunting on it or whatever." And unsurprisingly, he turns up at the stakeout for the lion when this supposed master hunter is attempting to kill this lion. Oh my
god.
God.
With the bear traps and a stag hung up on a tree. That's what he's got. And he's also got a gun. So
yeah,
and he's got some weird speaker that plays some lion sounds, which is a brilliant lure.
This tiny little 90s style radio that you'd see for 20 quid in a charity not even, I don't know if 20 quid, but you'd see for like 15 quid in a charity shop now. And yeah, it's absolute crap. And he appears out of nowhere, his son, and then his dad almost shoots him. And then he's like, what are you doing here? They have a little argument, and the lion sneaks up behind the dad, who is in front of all the bear traps. He gets mauled with the lion's gnashers. And
then he's shouting at his son, please shoot this lion that's tearing me to shreds. The son freezes, doesn't shoot the lion, and then walks backwards. I want to say this part because it's hilarious. He walks backwards and then stands on a bear trap, trapping his ankle, falls over into another bear trap, which like goes on his rib cage. And then the scene just ends, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. He gets killed by the bear traps that his dad set up. And yeah, the police come find them and they're like, what the hell went on here? The lions somehow just disappeared. And that's the end of the scene. Cut to the helicopter being like, oh yeah, we lost him. And then immediately after, someone's like, oh, the lion's been spotted on a tram. And it just escapes, and oh my god.
Yeah, so somehow the lion exits the zoo, which somehow the lion was in there for some reason. They knew that the lion was in the zoo. So it managed to get through some fences or whatever. The helicopter with the thermal imaging cameras following it, they lose it. It ends up on a tram, and then just kills all the people on the tram, which causes the tram to crash into a bus or a lorry or something like that. Which is just what is just so funny. and then they rock up to the scene, and the lion is not trapped in the tram. Somehow it works out how to get out, open the doors or something. I don't even know. It's not explained at all.
Well, it teleports out. That's what we can assume for the movie.
Oh yeah, the lion teleports. That's how this film works.
Yeah, it seems so. I'm sorry, we have to backtrack a little because I forgot to mention a very important thing that happens after the scene with the alligator. After they go to the pub as well, they're going home, and the boyfriend is approached by what seems like a group of thugs. He gets threatened with murder because of some sex tape that he took of one of the girls in the group of thugs, and then he just gets away with it somehow, and you never hear of this again. That's the end of the plot.
Somehow his girlfriend manages to talk these people out of. She sort of talks them out of not hurting him, and then she's just like, oh yeah, we'll get the tape for you tomorrow. Yeah. And then they just never explain the rest of that. That just ends right there.
In a real movie, you have setups and payoffs, right? So there's a setup here, a clear setup. Okay, he needs to explain to his girlfriend what this tape malarkey is about. And if the tape is real, which we'll find out by seeing him discover the tape and be like, well, I need to give this back and go on a mission to give back the tape. No, none of that happens. The scene ends and you never hear of it again. But, oh my god, I think there's another point we missed, because this film is just so in-depth. There's a scene where there's a moped guy, he's delivering a curry, run by an Italian, from a curry shop run by an Italian guy called Sergio, and
so the moped comes around the corner whilst the boyfriend and the girlfriend are walking down a narrow street, I would guess, and then he almost knocks the two over, goes in between them. Then the guy shouts, "Oi, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Like, your mum's a whore," or something like that.
Your mum's a whore is a common theme in this movie.
That's often the main insult. And then the guy who's like stops his moped and goes, "Oi, what?" And then they kind of have a confrontation. Then the guy on the moped pulls a knife on him and goes, "Oh, I'll kill you," or something like that. And then the boyfriend goes, "Oh, your food smells nice.
Yeah.
Can I buy it?"
This is the response to a man that just pulls a knife on him. And this works. Obviously, he's like, oh, damn, I'm getting extra money tonight. Puts his knife away. He's like, yeah, here's your curry. And then the boyfriend has the audacity to ask for a bottle of wine, which he doesn't pay extra for. And the guy's like, well, I guess so. You just bought the curry off me. Now I'm losing money. But it's okay, because you've bought the curry. And this isn't even the end of the scene. This is the worst part. The moped guy goes on to moped around Amsterdam with a 6 foot 220 kilo lion chasing after him. Eventually ends up in the canal, or one of the canals of Amsterdam, and he's climbing back up. He's looking around. He's like, oh damn, the lion's gone, thank God. And the most this is the most awkward editing in the movie. He looks around, the lion appears, it roars and bites at the same time, and it cuts halfway through, and the roar carries on slightly over to the next cut, where he's a lifeless body that flops into the water with a head off
a
him.
Balloon man.
Yeah, it's the
wearing
terrible
clothes and without a head. I don't even know how to describe that scene. It was just
Yeah, you
awful.
have to see it for yourself, honestly. But we'll get to whether we recommend this film or not later. Anyway, let's go back to where we were in the story. I've got my notes here. So, yeah, after the lion hunter unsuccessfully hunts a lion and the lion's killed everyone on a tram, then what happens? Oh my god, this movie's a mess. They have to call in the ex-boyfriend of the zoologist.
No, first they're like, oh, what should we do? Maybe we should get the police involved. So they get like a SWAT team. I'm pretty sure that's what happens.
Yeah,
Is
that's
that
definitely
the
a SWAT
next
team.
bit? And then they. Oh no, I'm skipping a bit ahead.
Oh,
I
you
think.
don't want-
Yeah.
Spoilers, there's neo-Nazis, but we'll get to that later.
I can't remember what. I guess the main character's ex, who's also a lion hunter,
Conveniently.
gets called in. He can get on in the next flight over, obviously, because he's really likes hunting lions.
Yeah. He gets called in, and they're waiting for him in Schiphol Airport, which I've been to. And no one cares about that, yeah. But he gets called into the airport. The zoologist is stood with the policeman who she's working in conjunction with. And some guy is coming out of the gate, and so this guy had his leg bitten off by a lion. So he's in a wheelchair. He's a seasoned veteran of lion hunting or some stupid crap like that, you know. And the first thing the police officer says when he sees him is like, "What is that?"
Which I think is just a poor dub, but it was hilarious because it just sounded like they just hate disabled people.
Yeah, it was definitely a bad translation, but it just sounds like ableism at its finest.
Oh no.
Swiftly moving on. My next point is police versus Nazis, but that's not the next part. The next part is they set up the sting operation. Before that, the lion hunt.
You know, they're right. They're interviewing the public about this crazy lion that's terrorizing Amsterdam, and then they interview these neo-Nazis who are out. I don't know, and they're like, "Oh, we've served in the military. We could easily kill this lion. The police are pussies or something shitty like that. Their mums are probably whores."
Thanks for that comment. Yeah, so these guys are just drinking in public, and the press think it's suitable to ask neo-Nazis, which are literally wearing like iron eagles and stuff. And they're wearing camo jackets and stuff. And yeah, they slag off the police. But any.
Excuse us. But anyway, so they have this weird interview with these neo-Nazis. Then the chief police guy is like, nah, we don't want this lion hunter that we've just called in. We're gonna get a SWAT team in to kill this lion. So they've found that it's in this forest. So they basically encircle the forest with all these SWAT people to obviously kill the lion.
Well, it's not a forest. It's the same park it was in, but it doesn't make it very clear. I can only tell because it uses the same gates.
Oh, okay. So they start encircle this, and then all of a sudden there are loads of booby traps in this forest. So some of these people fall through like leaves and into spikes, and then another person hits a tripwire and gets it exploded by like grenades.
Yeah. So the first person gets killed Lara Croft style, and there's these big wooden spikes in the ground with like a hidden cover over it. Then the next person gets tripwired, so he gets hung up by his leg, and at the same time this lets off a grenade which explodes some of the police officers, and because this happened he starts firing. And it just so happens that he's firing directly at three or four of his men.
They see the like rustling in amongst the trees, so they think it's the lion that's attacking them. Yeah. And then they shoot these 3 neo-Nazis that put the booby traps there because they knew that the lion was in there, whilst the SWAT team was I don't even know how to describe. I don't know. And then they just end the scene with like them the SWATs and the neo-Nazis just killing each other.
Yeah, and it cuts. It cuts to something else.
And they just don't explain what happened at all.
You kind of just got to work it out from the mess of a scene you've seen. And as I mentioned, the editing in this is really awkward and confusing, so who knows what went on there for real. So, anyway, after the neo-Nazis versus police scene, the lion... Oh my god, right. After the failed attempt of the murder of the lion, we go to this restaurant scene with the boyfriend, Dave, the girl, woman, zoologist, female person, and the lion hunter ex-boyfriend. And the ex-boyfriend's really drunk, and he's like telling some old story about him losing his leg. And he shoots the chandelier from the ceiling.
He pulls out a pistol in the middle of a dining room, shoots a chandelier, which falls down on another group of people's table. And then all the waiters start running over to this table, which the chandelier just fell on. And all the other people in the restaurant are just carrying on eating whilst a gun just got fired in the middle of the restaurant.
There's literally people in the background that turn around slowly, have a look, like as you do when you hear someone getting angry at someone. You just turn around and you're like, oh, or they need to calm down, or their kids need to stop running about. But no, this guy's got a gun and he just shot it and almost killed someone, and no one gives a damn. And the first thought wasn't, oh my god, there's a man with a gun in here shooting the place up. The first thought was, oh my god, are these people that almost had a chandelier land on their table okay? Oh, it's alright, he won't kill us. It was almost as if calling the police was an afterthought, because he does wake up in a prison cell, but that isn't what happens.
They don't show him get arrested, them calling the police, or anything like that. They don't show any repercussions apart from, oh, he wakes up in a prison cell, and then he just goes to work. Whilst after he wakes up. And then they're just like, oh, right, we saw this line out, mate, cheers.
It's almost as if they had all this raw footage shot, And some of it was just so unusable that they were like, no, we're not putting this in, and we don't have the budget to do reshoots, so we're just going to make the story kind of incoherent. It is honestly a baffling concept. But anyway, it goes on. It does not end there. And after that, we get back to hunting lions, what we came here for. And the last half hour is about hunting lions. And I just want to mention, the lion actually has a purple lion vision. It's almost like thermal imaging for a lion, except for they're a mammal. And lions don't see in thermal imaging. They see in normal
I'm pretty sure they
human
have
colour,
color
I'm pretty
vision
sure.
because
Yeah.
they're apex predators. But like, you're given the like view of the lion through the lion's eyes, and it's just got a purple like lens
It's like
over
a
it or
purple,
something.
purpley bluey hue over it. It's really odd.
And that's the only time you're shown this perspective as
Actually,
well.
that's not true. At the start of the film, the intro credits. Sorry, I just thought I didn't.
I thought it was the chair.
It was really just awkward. But the intro credits are from the lion's POV. But after we get to see the lion's point of view, so the lion hunter that they call in is in a wheelchair, as we previously
So
established.
he basically sets up a similar scenario to what the other guy did, but instead of a dead deer or something, he uses an actual body from one of the previous murders from the lion, and
lion murder.
so he uses that. He's in a bush or something with his
Something
gun,
like that.
ready to shoot this lion, and I can't even remember what. Oh yeah, the lion takes him by surprise, whatever that means. And then we end up with this lion chasing this dude who's in some crazy tank wheelchair thing with like tracks on it. And they're going like 20 miles an hour, something like that.
At least.
Through a forest. And it's just
Oh my-
the worst camera shots you've ever seen.
So they do it on green screen, and the green screen looks so terrible. Like, there's not even any wind blowing on this guy's face. His hair is perfectly still, and he's meant to be flying along in this caterpillar track wheelchair that hurls him away from a lion. And oh my god, it ends up with the lion disappearing, and he's like, well, that was exciting. He doesn't say that, but he just escapes, and he looks so matter of fact, like, oh, well, now I've got to go hunt this lion again. It's the dumbest poo in the world. Anyway, next on the list is magic wheelchair climbed stairs. We've got two incidents.
They skip. So this is skipping a little bit ahead. So
It's just
they've just
important to
gone,
mention.
oh no, we've lost the lion, blah blah blah. Where's the lion gone? And then the guy knows where the lion's going.
Yeah,
so him and his ex-girlfriend, they're together at the moment. They go into this building. You said it was is it a morgue? You said
So
it was?
it's the University of Amsterdam Medical Research Building or something. And obviously a university building has some sort of architecture, and it's got these 45-degree steps when you put a ramp on it. And there's no ramp. This wheelchair, because it has caterpillar tracks, just scales these steep-ass stairs with absolutely no problem. In fact, he teleports up the stairs. You don't even see him climb the stairs.
You do see it. There is a small shot of him moving up like 45 degrees, and it's hilarious because obviously you could see that it would just topple over if this happened in real life. But somehow they still make the shot of him just going really fast up these stairs.
I know, right? And skipping forward just slightly, there's a bit where he's being chased through an auditorium, so like a lecture theatre. And you know how the stairs are in there. They're very long and quite steep still, so not the kind of thing a wheelchair could scale. But what does the wheelchair do? The wheelchair just climbs those stairs with absolutely no problem to escape from a lion. It's the stupidest shit I've ever seen, if I'm honest.
So now they're in this building, they're getting chased by a lion still because this lion is relentless.
Yeah,
and it's
does
just
not
an
give up.
absolute fucking tank. Let's be honest. I'm pretty sure it's been shot as
Oh
well
yeah,
by
it's
this
been
point.
shot multiple times. Well, we don't know that. We don't see it get explicitly hit. It doesn't have any wounds, so maybe it's just made of steel. But anyway,
So
carry
then
on.
all of a sudden, it bursts through a window, I'm pretty sure,
Yeah.
at these people. They're shooting. They've both got guns. They're both shooting at it. The lion just completely tanks all the shots, and the guy gets his arm kind of ripped up a little bit.
Yeah, he gets a bit shredded.
And then they go into another little chase scene with the guy with the wheelchair. He manages to lock himself into a room,
Into a mortuary of all places.
and then he like blocks up the door with various furniture, and then you see the handle from this door moving, so somehow this lion knows how to open a flipping door, because you can see the handle jiggling about, and it's just like, what? How does this lion know how to open a fucking door? And I can't remember what happened.
Who knows? I think it just cuts away and we go to something else, but it's just right. So that's all the interesting details of the lion chase scene, really, to be honest. But except for the last parts of it. So they decide to bait the lion towards this freezer by using the severed leg of the veteran lion hunter, who now has no legs.
So he decides the only way to get this lion is, my ex-girlfriend has to saw my other leg off in order to catch this lion, to make like a trail of blood.
Yeah.
When he's heavily bleeding because he's literally torn up so badly.
So they make the wounds worse by severing a limb, as we said.
He just cuts a leg off, and he's
Casually.
completely fine with it. He literally goes, that's pretty much all you get.
Yeah, and the girlfriend of David, whatever her name is, the zoologist, who cuts his leg off with this big old saw,
And is completely fine with it as well.
completely unfazed
like-
by body gore.
They just are completely okay with the fact that
No one cares that there's
that is
blood
just
everywhere.
like a completely normal thing to do. Oh, there's a lion chasing me. Let's cut my fucking leg off.
Like, if I saw that, I'd be horrified. If I saw someone who'd been ripped to shreds, I'd be like, oh my god, I don't know what to do. And probably shit myself and cry. But, yeah, no one in this movie cares. And eventually, after baiting it into the freezer and trying to gas it, which fails, David comes along and opens the freezer door so that David can have the lion pounce on him, and in the critical moment, David's about to get chomped up by some big old lion. And how do they defeat the lion? The girlfriend puts a flipping stool through his head, like the sharpest chair.
There's a broken stool somehow lying about, which she picks up, puts it through the lion's head. It comes out its mouth, so it's gone through this lion's skull somehow.
Yeah,
and that's what kills it.
yeah.
It's just her putting a chair. So it's just tanked like 10 bullets probably.
Oh, more than 10 bullets. Surely it's like
it's been shot in
20.
the face,
Yeah.
like multiple times by this point.
with an
Some
manual
rifle.
action rifle of sorts, like a hunting rifle. But no, the thing that does it is this spiky ass chair, and that's when they triumph, I suppose. That's when it supposedly is that they triumphed, because after
So then the guy who's had all his limbs cut off and is bleeding out, he has his little death scene. They go, oh no, he's flipping dead. They actually start crying. That's an actual time they have an emotion.
Yes, the first time they display emotion in this film. Emotions are banned before this, so.
So this is his girlfriend and his boyfriend. Her boyfriend's comforting her in this tragic moment.
Yeah. And there's a bit where, well, there's not a bit. The bit at the end is eventually she goes in the ambulance with the dead body of her ex, because, you know, it's a nice thing to do, see off someone you used to really care about and still do, I suppose. And then
they realise there's another lion.
Oh my
Somehow
God.
there's tracks for another lion, and they're like, oh God, where's this lion?
yeah, unsurprisingly, it's following the ambulance, which has just stopped at a railroad.
Because there's a train coming, which is
Convenient.
very convenient. So the guy who's passenger in the front of the ambulance opens the door to investigate what all this growling is.
Yes, and subsequently gets the door ripped off, and then
The door gets ripped off whilst he's trying to close it.
comedically he's
The-
holding the handle up.
Yeah, the handle's still in his hand. The lion jumps in the front, killing the driver and the passenger.
No, they didn't kill the driver. They reappear later on the
Do
side of
they?
the road. I'm not joking.
What?
They-
They literally show him getting
They
ripped
get-
up.
it gets-
What?
There's literally blood getting splattered everywhere, and then I'm going to call her Naomi Watts from now, because she looks like an actress called Naomi Watts, who was in a film called Mulholland Drive by David Lynch. You go watch it, it's really good. Unlike this film, which we were discussing. Anyway, Naomi Watts jumps out the back of the ambulance, gets in this old man's van, and rams the ambulance onto the train track. The ambulance get hit by a train, it explodes in a fireball, and then it cuts to the ambulance driver and the other paramedic, who are on the side of the road just completely fine. Not completely fine, but one of them's a bit bloodied up. But still, how are they not dead?
So she's managed to kill both these lions in
Yeah.
a completely unconventional way. Unconventional. I can't say the word.
Unconventional.
Thank you, George.
You're welcome.
And so one's killed by a chair, one's killed by trapping it in an ambulance and pushing it in front of a train, and then it gets blown up. So they're all happy now because both the lions are dead, which they thought was just one line. Spoilers.
Yeah, spoilers for this whole movie. It's a bit late, but no one cares about this film. So yeah, and then we have this little epilogue scene where David and Naomi Watts are walking through whatever park that the lion hunt took place in, Central Park in New York, in Amsterdam, in the Netherlands, I guess. And they're walking their dog, and they call it Simba. Haha, funny. Simba is Swahili for lion. And he runs off, and then he returns, and he's like, oh, maybe there's another lion. Ha ha ha.
Big funny.
And, oh, the big twist at the end. Oh my God, there's growling in the bushes. Obviously setting this shit up for a sequel. But surprise, surprise, it didn't get a sequel because it's dog shit. This movie
Probably
is
literally
terrible.
made no money.
I think I looked at the figures for it, and I think... So usually movies, you just double their production budget to account for marketing. And I don't think this is the case for that. But if you do that with the budget of this movie, they made back their money. They broke even. So they probably made like 100k or 200k on this movie, but yeah, not a very successful film, not warranting a sequel. But yeah, that was essentially a synopsis / review of Prey, Dick Musk's best film, definitely. And I think this is a new one. We're gonna have to take this time to have a break, because honestly,
After
that was
right, first,
exhausting.
Should we just quickly give our overall scores of the film
Yeah,
before we
that's a
take
good
a
idea.
short break? So, when we finished the film, we just gave a quick little
Yeah.
discussion, and we both agreed the comedic value of this film is a good 7, maybe 8 out of 10.
I'd go safe and say 7.5, 7.5.
Because this film is just hilarious. so
something
so,
different.
So many of the scenes just literally made no sense, no logical sense whatsoever, and was just hilarious.
It's essentially a lion rip-off of Lake Placid. So Lake Placid is kind of the seminal creature flick from, I guess, late 90s, early noughties. It's got Bill Pullman in it, so I suppose it's noughties because he was quite big in the 90s. But yeah, this is the exact same concept. Uses the same archetypal characters of the hunter that's cocky and dies, and the hunter, or I don't know if the hunter dies in Lake Placid, but who knows? But yeah, it's basically rip off Lake Placid with a lion. So on a filmmaking level, that gives it a nice score of about 3 or 4.
Yeah, it's just it's shot. Some of the scenes are shot quite well, I'd
Yeah,
say.
interestingly, the most competent scenes are probably the most difficult to make scenes. Like, the boring scenes where it's just expository dialogue are the worst because they're really weirdly edited, like quick cuts every sentence and
Badly dubbed.
Yeah,
so
terrible
some
dubbing.
Of the conversations don't even make sense.
And also, the weirdest thing is the transition of one subject to another. So there's multiple times in the film where a character will be talking to another character, and usually a scene ends and you see them walk into the police officer's office, say. But no, in this film, they literally walk over to the other character who is on set, and they start having a convo with them, and that's the next scene. The other character disappears. So yeah, filmmaking. I'm hesitant to give it a 5, but I'll give it a 4.
Yeah, I was gonna say 4 as well for that, but
And now the final part of the review, I guess, is would we recommend it?
so for me, anyone who just finds films funny and just has a good laugh from just bad films, easily would recommend it.
Oh
It's
yeah, definitely.
hilarious.
If you like the likes of Lake Placid, and the likes of B movies like, I don't know, Chopping Mall, some random crap I've seen, then definitely watch it. But if
you're a serious cunt, just don't watch it because you'll just hate it.
yeah, if you like art film, don't bother. I mean,
Sorry for using the C word there.
yeah, that was pretty horrific. Lol. But but yeah, I don't know, I like art film as well, but I'm just not stuck up. So if you're a stuck up art film cunt, as Tom would say, then don't watch it. And I think on that note, we're going to take a break. This was exhausting, this section, and we'll be back in a jiffy.
Bye. Hello everyone and welcome back.
We have had our little break, and we have recuperated since the intense discussion of absolute blabber about the brilliant film of Prey. So Tom's got some topics, so take us away. What is it you'd like to discuss?
So the broad topic is driving. So I've been driving for a couple of years. I passed when I was 17.
Yeah, I've been driving
now
for almost 2 years now.
And now 19. I think we've said that before. And I just get I just have a little story to tell first.
Oh, go.
About me driving home from work. So to get back from work, I got to go back on the motorway. So I was coming. It was towards the end. I was coming off the motorway, and
Or highway if you prefer.
highway. Yeah, if you want to say
Autobahn,
that.
whatever.
So I was just signalling. I was joining the slip road, and then this BMW driver just cuts straight in front of me as I'm joining the slip road, and I was just like, what the fuck are you doing? He was going really fast, and I could tell that he just wanted to get in front of me because I was just in my little Corsa.
Which achieves nothing in the grand scheme of things if you don't drive.
So I was a little bit annoyed about that, but I just carried on. He was kind of gone, and I didn't really think too much of it. And then I noticed as I was going around, so you've got to go around this corner over a bridge, and then there's a roundabout after the bridge. So it's quite a long slip road to get to this roundabout. That's what I'm trying to say. Sorry.
Which leads off to
and then there was an Audi right behind me. I think they knew each other, or they were racing each other. I couldn't even tell, but he was like right up my ass, tailgating me as I was going round this slip road and over the bridge, and then I needed to go into the left. So I was in the right lane at this point because that's where the slip road takes you. You need to go into the left lane to get across the the roundabout. And so I check my mirrors, blah blah blah, put my indicator on, start moving over to the left-hand lane, and this Audi driver undertakes me. And I just couldn't believe it. I was like, what is this prick doing? In the nicest way possible. I can't remember exactly what I said at this point. And like, I just can't believe how lucky he is that I double checked my mirrors and was like keeping a good eye on him, because I could tell he was going to do something retarded, and he did, and I predicted him. So you're welcome, Audi driver, that you didn't crash at that point, because I'm sure you would not have been very happy if you crashed at that point, and probably would have blamed me.
Yeah, so on this junction, everyone who wants to carry on going either northbound or southbound has to cross over lanes. So if you stay in the same lane as the slip road that you come off of, then you start heading in the wrong direction as you want to go.
Which is really inconvenient. So you've basically got two people coming from opposite sides of the motorway, and they all need to move into opposite lanes. And it's just a ball ache, basically. And then, right, so after this happened, so I moved over to the left-hand lane. I'm now behind the Audi driver. Then this van comes from behind me from the right lane, so he also exited the motorway at the same time. And then he cuts in front of the Audi driver.
Oh my God.
Who's in front of me. But they don't beep at each other, I still don't know what happened, whether they were A, racing each other, B, pissing each other off, or C, friends and were just like messing about for the lols. But it was just those sequence of events of just people being completely retarded, and I just don't understand, because they didn't get anywhere any faster, because we had to stop at this roundabout. And then once we went through the roundabout, there was a police car that came off on another exit, and of course they all slowed down and then behaved like good little boys after that, because they were behind the police car and they didn't want to get told off. So they didn't get anywhere any faster, and it was just completely pointless. And it was just a weird series of events that I thought I'd bring up just to talk about how retarded people are at driving.
Yeah, and I can't say I haven't been an idiot myself. I definitely have. I'll get into an example later on, but yeah, honestly, people on the roads, especially around where we live, which is the southwest of England, I assume it's the same everywhere, but it seems to be. Round here, there's a lot of young people that get their goddamn Vauxhall courses, their Golfs or whatever, and they're like, oh yeah, I'm gonna rag it around these country roads, these roundabouts, whatever, just because I'm cool in it, because I've got a tiny penis and I need to oh my God, compensate. That's the one.
Compensate for their tiny penises by driving as fast as possible to impress any nearby females.
Oh yes, because this is actually really attractive when blokes are just being stupid on the road. It doesn't make girls go, oh, what an idiot. It makes them really wet.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh my God, me and Tom were in his car once, and he was driving like a right twat. And then we got flagged down by these fit birds, and they literally came in and fucked us up. No, this is a complete lie, and this won't happen. Stop driving like an idiot. I learned not to myself, so you should learn from me too.
Yeah, so when I very first passed my test, I was definitely a shit driver.
Oh,
looking back on it now. But now I've had a couple of years experience, I kind of understand what you need to do. And basically, it's very simple. We're all little hive. We're all trying to follow the rules of the road to get to a place as fast as possible. And if everyone sticks to the rules perfectly, we will all get to our destination faster. But people that are very self-centered, like the BMW and Audi driver, just causes incidents. Like if there was a crash, then that just holds up everyone who's coming off the motorway. And just basically just driving like a knobhead is just going to slow everyone down, and probably the person who's driving like a knobhead. And I just don't understand how people think, oh yeah, if I drive like a twat, then I'm better.
Yeah, and the more built up the area, the more so this is true. Like, I was driving through London one time with my uncle because I was on work experience, and this Honda Civic guy was undertaking, he was zooming about, and he was literally like 1 or 2 cars ahead of me and my uncle when we got to this junction. So you achieve nothing, literally 20 metres or so of distance for driving really dangerously and causing, well, not causing necessarily, but almost causing crashes constantly. So please drive responsibly.
There's always going to be a red light in front of you or something in mainly built up areas I'm talking about now, but there's always going to be a red light, a roundabout. You're going to have to slow down, especially when it's busy. You can't just overtake everyone. It's just impossible. And it just winds me up. So on a better note, I would like to shout out a YouTube channel that I've been watching since I've been learning to drive, and he's called Ashley Neal. And
Good on you, Ashley Neal.
And I really enjoy his videos. He's just a calm driving instructor who just puts it how it is. And instead of having these crazy like dash cam compilations, I don't know whether you've seen them.
I have, and they're dreadful.
And it's just basically people driving into incidents. So basically someone will pull out in front of them on a roundabout, and you can see it's happening. Like, yes, they shouldn't pull out in front of them, but instead of just slowing down and let them carry on, maybe give them a toot to say, what are you doing, mate? Instead of that, they just go, oh, let's accelerate at this person, slam my brakes on, then beep at them for as long as possible, then shout absurdities at them, and then usually the other driver stops and they have a fight, or they just get on with their day. And it's just it just winds me up, these compilations. But instead of I'm getting off track. But instead of having these compilation videos, Ashley Neal has these lovely compilations called Nice Driving compilations, and it's basically his viewers send in their dashcam video footage of them doing nice driving. So this could be something as simple as stopping an incident from happening, being kind to a cyclist, and Ashley Neal just voices over these dashcam and just says what the driver's done well and how viewers can do these good driving maneuvers, I guess. And it's just really wholesome, and I just wanted to give him a shout out.
Well, this is kind of a commentary on media in general, because this is not what is popular. No one cares about spreading goodwill, and no one cares about being sensible and not endangering other people's lives, which is a very real thing on the road. Instead, you get people that are like, wait, this biker smashed someone's wing mirror because they undercut them. Like, don't retaliate fire with fire. Don't fight fire with fire, as they say. You need to act in a calm manner, and I think there should be more positivity around driving rather than just negativity everywhere. I know it's hard when driving in the UK, at least, is frustrating, but I think it's the same everywhere.
Because our roads are really busy and
really tiny as well.
Because we just have buildings everywhere. Our roads aren't designed. They're designed around our buildings. They're not designed, and then the buildings are put in the empty space like I know a lot of newer cities are. So it can mean that the roads aren't perfect and they get really congested. Then you get people wound up, and the road rage in the UK is really bad, I think.
It's like a self-fulfilling prophecy of pessimism, or whatever it's called. But yeah, God, the roads here are horrible, and you just have to accept it and kind of deal with it. But most people don't. They get angry and honk and tailgate and do other stupid shit like cut you up. But yeah, goddamn driving is not fun here. Maybe at 2 a.m. in the morning when you're ragging it around B roads, but still, that's not safe in of itself. You got to be careful out there.
Yeah, I still really enjoy driving. I don't know why. It's just one of those things that I enjoy, and Sometimes it spoiled it, but sometimes other drivers spoil it for me. But most of the time, I just kind of laugh at these people because honestly, they're the people that are just gonna crash, ruin their nice cars, and then they're gonna cry in the corner.
Indeed. I think that nicely wraps it up for that subject. But staying on the subject of cars, let's lead into the terrible financial decisions that, say, army lads take and all the building site guys do when they turn 18 because you can't get finance when you're 17. They turn 18 and they're like, oh yeah, I'm gonna get an awesome new car. So they get locked into this like 36-month contract.
You know what I'm gonna get right now?
A Mercedes A-Class.
Mercedes A-Class.
That
the
is
well-known finance car. Whenever I see an A-Class on the roads, I'm sorry, I judge you A-Class drivers out there. I see it. You're a finance driver. I think you've made a poor financial decision.
Who is under the age of 25, and that's being very generous, it's probably a lot more like 35, has got their A-Class finance, which means they're locked into a 36-month contract where if they crash, they're fucked. If they don't keep up with their payments, they're fucked. If anything goes wrong, they are fucked because they do not own this car.
And then after this incredibly expensive finance deal is over, so I don't know whether it's 2 years, 5 years, whatever.
Yeah,
then they just hand the car back, and that's that. They put all this money into this nice car, and then they've either got to get another car on finance, or they've got to buy a shit car because they've not saved any money because they've been spending it all on their car.
Indeed. It's cringeworthy.
Yeah.
Someone across the road from me, their boyfriend had this A-Class, and it was clearly either daddy's A-Class or it was a finance one. I'm going to lean towards finance, judging by how much they could use it. But they rock up in this A-Class. The girlfriend gets all excited, obviously, because it's a fancy car, and I'd get excited as well. If my mate rocked up with an A-Class, I'd be like, hell yeah, can I ever go in it? Or can you drive me around fast in it, please? Because that's what I'd want to do. I like fast cars, but just seeing people own it when they can't afford it is the most painful thing. It's like, stop throwing money at this thing you don't even own. It's like renting. Like, I know some people have to rent, and it's really unfortunate that some people are in the position where you can only rent. But if you're renting when you can easily afford a mortgage payment, but you haven't saved up enough to get the down payment, so you're just being lazy, and you're just like, oh no, I'll rent for the rest of my life. It's like, stop, you're throwing money at an asset that is not an asset to you, it's a liability to you. God damn, come on, people, read some personal finance books or something.
Yeah, I think you don't even have to read a personal finance.
No.
But I think it's just common sense. If you're putting money towards something, you want something at the end of it. That's just basic common sense, I think.
Because, like, even with your 800 quid Vauxhall Corsa that you bought, and it's 2006 plate or whatever, and it's got 80k miles on it, and you do, say, 10k miles before you want to get a different car or whatever, at least then you can get another 500 back from it.
Yeah, you're going to get like 500 quid. Even if it completely breaks, you've still got scrap.
Yeah.
You can still get a little bit of money from it, and you've probably not put that much money into it either.
I'm going to quite safely say that any functional car will be a minimum of £500. And if it's not, then it's going to break in 10 seconds. But yeah, honestly, some people's financial decisions are very frustrating, and you wonder why. But hey ho, I'm not here to judge.
Yeah, unfortunately, the people that make the poor financial decisions are the ones.
They're the ones that care.
I don't know what to say.
It's just frustrating, and I think that's essentially it. And I think a final little anecdote I can say on this. I don't know. Do you have anything more on cars?
I've given up talking about cars now.
Okay, well, I just want to say one last thing. Road rage is real, and I get bad road rage, and I know I shouldn't. It makes things worse, but road rage is just, it's like catharsis when you release all this pent up energy, and
It's just really easy to shout at someone
Yeah.
when you're in a confined box and you know they can't hear
yeah,
you.
you can scream "fuck off, you twat" and flip them off and whatnot, but yeah, it's not great. Anyway, I
But
think
it just raises your heart rate and
Yeah,
you
and it
just
makes
make
everything
poor
worse.
decisions.
Yeah.
But anyway, let's move on from that.
I think that's enough about cars. Yeah.
I've decided that I'm gonna have my little segment, and like on the last episode last week, I did a little hypothetical question. I've decided
Yes.
I'm gonna keep that up. So I think we're gonna end on this little question. It probably won't take so long.
Okay.
It won't take that long. That's what I meant to say. Sorry. So, you find a book and begin to read it, only to discover that it's your life. So it's your life being written in this book.
Yeah.
You get to the point that oh my god, I'm so bad at reading.
It's because we've had a few points each, I think.
I apologize. You get to the point that you are at now. Do you turn the page knowing that you will not be able to change the events to come? So basically, you're reading this book, you find out it's your life written down in this book, and do you turn the page and find out your future, or do you just close it and say, nah, no thanks?
Right. I think we should take turns in answering that. Would you like to go first, or shall I go first?
I can go first, as I've probably thought about it a little bit more.
Yeah, go for it.
But for me, I think it depends on how the book is structured, as nerdy as it sounds. But like, if you, yeah, it depends on how in detailed everything was, because I feel like I don't know how it would play out. It's really difficult to answer this question, because if you read it and find out your future and then try and either make that happen or stop that from happening, will that alter your future, or can it not be changed? And is reading it gonna affect you? But obviously, I don't think anyone really wants to know their future. Unless it's really good, then they might want to, but then will that ruin it? I think this doesn't really have a definitive answer, which I think is probably what makes it a fun question.
Yeah. So, my plain and simple answer is no. And here's why. So, if reading the future does alter the course of action that occurs, which the question proposed it doesn't, but take the idea that it does, you get the bootstrap paradox. You read something which changes the course of future, so it would be changed anyway. So it's impossible. Whatever you read, that's not happening. But if you don't read it, then I think that's also going to change it, if I'm perfectly honest, because you'll have all these expectations, and you'd never know what's coming in the future, do you? Like,
and what would you do with the book once you've
Burn
made
it.
the decision? Do you destroy it? Do you lock it up in a box and think, oh, you know what, I'm just about to die now, let's have a little flick through this book and see if it is the same? Because that would be pretty funny if you just had a little flick through it and it said in the book whether you were going to read the book or not.
damn. Well, I think the first thing I'd do with it is use it as a masturbation toy. And on that note,
We're going to end it right there.
Yeah.
That was very disappointing, George. I'm sorry.
well,
Why am I apologising? You should be sorry.
you can apologise on my behalf. It's all right. We are a
Yeah.
cohesive unit.
That's what I meant to say. I'm sorry, everyone listening at home or driving to work, maybe.
And all of those that are driving to work, stop raging. It's okay. But yeah, let's end it here.
On that bombshell.
Yeah, let's steal Top Gear's outro.
And on that bombshell, it's time to end.
Thanks for listening, and we'll see you in the next episode. I guess that's a good enough outro.
Yeah. Goodbye, everyone.
Cheers for listening. See ya.